I've always been slightly uncomfortable with the word boundaries. In my search for a way to describe my role and somebody else's role in a conversation, a situation, work or personal or otherwise. And last week on the podcast with Nate Regier, I had a bit of an epiphany that I wanted to pull out and bring to this Uncut. How are you enjoying, by the way, the Uncut episodes? We're doing them every second week after the podcasts. And it's been really interesting to kind of dissect what I've learned and bring this to you as a little tidbit, a little amuse bouche, if you will, between the podcasts themselves. And the phrase that came out of last week's podcast with Nate was let them have their experience. So yes, I am kind of jumping on the Mel Robbins bandwagon, Let Them, the book by Mel Robbins. But I want to talk about how so often as women leaders, we feel we need to explain someone's experience to them or own someone else's experience. I don't know, or just get gosh darn tootin' caught up in all of the things that are going on in an attempt at helpful, right? And Nate had this great expression about unasked for help in situations, and how consent is such an important thing as a woman for physical boundaries. So why are we not using those same kinds of examples when it comes to opportunities to help or whatever? So when you don't consent to someone helping you with your mail merge, when you don't consent to someone helping you with your meeting notes or whatever, when someone takes it over from you in an attempt to quote unquote help you, are they really helping you? Or are they showing you how unvaluable, incapable, and unresponsible you are that I need to swoop in and fix it for you? Valuable, capable, and responsible. Those were the three levers that Nate talked about in his previous, in the podcast we had. The second thing I want to talk about on this Uncut is the ownership of your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. I've never had someone describe it so clearly to me that you can't control other people's behaviors. You can't control how they react to what you say. Anybody who's spent enough time in a psychologist chair will know that this is like lesson number one, right? Within the first year, you learn this part. But you really do want to control their behaviors. You want them to see your side of the coin, right? And in this expression of it, you try and you attempt to have people experience it from your perspective. But this idea of let them have their own experience of it. And the only part as a leader that you're responsible for is your own behavior. And what's really cool about this is that all of a sudden there's no us, them, there's no me, we, there's no board executive, there's no VP and AVP and whatever your hierarchy is. We are all on the same side of the table. We are all working together towards something. So I hold myself capable for my behavior, just like I hold you capable of your own behavior. A small tidbit that he mentioned that I just loved around language was, I need you to have it done by Friday, versus I want you to have it done by Friday. The only change is one word, people, but the difference is so big. I need you to have it done by Friday. In other words, if you don't get it done by Friday, I'm not going to be okay. Is that how we're hooking our success onto others? Versus I want you to have it done by Friday. I hold you capable. I believe you can do it. And you get the chance to say yes or no. So if it's a yes and it doesn't get done, then we can have a conversation about it as equals, right? Has as much to do about power dynamics. We don't want people in the room telling us things that they think that we want to hear. We want to have honest, resilient, resourceful conversations with people. So that was what the podcast was about. And it really spoke to me around this. The theme of the whole episodes this time is around the new paradigm of leadership. We're in slightly uncharted territories. We know that the top down sort of hierarchical doesn't work, but we're in this sort of limbo land. And make no mistake about it, the act of dominance has an impact, but the act of self-flagellation or removing yourself from blame. Let me use an example. Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably didn't give you enough instructions for this for you to be able to be successful about it. That is a whole bunch of not valuing yourself, not valuing your own boundaries, assuming that you made the boo-boo as a leader. I'm not saying you don't take responsibility for your actions or if it really was the case, but there is no point in throwing yourself under the bus to make someone else feel good about themselves. That's not a pattern, a behavior, and action that we want to engage in as successful, ambitious, and compassionate women leaders. Send me your thoughts. I'm curious with this uncut, what comes out, and how often now are you going to think about the word, I want you to have this to me by Friday, taking that ownership that they are capable of completing it in the timelines that you both agree on.